So let me introduce Professor Garimella Ramamurthy from Hyderabad, Mahindra College Centrale University, Mahindra University in Hyderabad. So please welcome, the floor is yours.
Yeah. First of all, I must thank Dr. Alexander Ramyantsev for making this conference a reality, SMARTY. I believe it is an annual event or biannual event. It all started with me working with Alex about 2.5 or 3 years ago. And to be honest, I must thank Professor Yevsey Morozov and also Professor Achyuta Krishnamurthy, who were really instrumental in bringing us together for this collaboration. And this particular research work started with my collaboration with Professor Alexander Ramyantsev. And let us get started. But basically, there is a simple joke in mathematics community that the contribution of India to mathematics is 0. So the concept of 0 was proposed by India, and you got negative numbers, and then you got fractionals, irrational numbers, and finally transcendental numbers and the whole field of real numbers. And then people started looking at vector spaces over the field. And when vector spaces over the field were proposed, it was quickly realized that the vector space over over a finite field also will have a lot more interesting structure. But in most high schools and colleges and universities, you get started with a course in linear algebra. And in linear algebra, some of the abstract linear algebra, there is a kind of a theorem which shows that every finite dimensional linear operator has a matrix representation. So matrices come out very naturally when we are looking at finite dimensional linear operators. And it so turns out that one of the very first approaches to algebra consisted in solving linear equations. So if you say x plus 2 equals 0, x equals minus 2 is a solution of the linear equation in single variable. Of course, naturally, people considered linear equations in multiple variables. And when you restrict yourself to integer solutions, you arrive at the notion of Diophantine equations, or in number theory, they call it as linear system of equations with integer solutions. So it so turns out that linear system of equations was very, very natural thing to look at to progress the area of linear algebra. And in linear algebra, the Gaussian elimination method was proposed for solving linear system of equations. And most of you know that in an abstract case, you talk of the column space, you talk of the row space, you talk of the null space, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, why I am telling all of this is, we are going to talk about matrix equations. Okay. So it's kind of a little bit abstract when you look at the problem, but when you start looking at the details, it looks fairly formal and fairly accurate and fairly doable. And Indian mathematicians proposed a method of solving quadratic equations using the technique of squaring it was proposed to solve completion of square method, quadratic equations were solved. But in this talk, we are not going to talk about scalar matrix equations, but we are going to talk about scalar quadratic equations, but we are going to talk about matrix quadratic equations. Okay. Now, here is the outline of the talk. The first what I'll do is I will go over briefly skip-free Markov chains, which is relevant to the theme of the conference, SMARTY. And you must understand that how Markov discovered and formalized Markov chains. Markov was analyzing Pushkin's poetry. Pushkin is a famous Russian poet, and Markov was analyzing Pushkin's poetry, and he came up with the idea of Markov chains, which are bread and butter of performance evaluation research community. And among Markov chains, skip-free Markov chains are a little bit more special. So let's first go over the outline of the talk. We'll talk about skip-free Markov chains and briefly tell about some applications. And all of you are familiar with matrix analytic method, which is kind of has been around since the time of 1980s or so, and still going strong. Matrix quadratic equations, and how matrix quadratic equations naturally lead to some problems in algebraic geometry. And matrix quadratic equations and a very interesting lemma called the factorization lemma, which looks very simple if you see it, but it has lots of repercussions to it. And then we go over computation of a special matrix solution and a special matrix quadratic equation arising in Markov chains, particularly skip-free Markov chains, particularly quasi-birth and death processes. And we talk about the computation of rate matrix and other solutions. And then we'll spend some time on arbitrary 2x2 matrix-based matrix quadratic equations and some general results we were able to obtain for not just the rate matrix, but the arbitrary 2x2 matrix-based matrix quadratic equations. Finally, we generalized the results to computation of the rate matrix of a GM1 type Markov chain. And I must admit here that our collaboration with Alexander Ramyantsev started sometime in 2016, around August of that year or so. Then we had a paper in European Conference on Modeling and Simulation, Hungary, Budapest. And then we had a paper in a journal which generalized our result in the, okay. So I must say at this time that the motivation for this research paper actually came from my collaboration with Alex. And you all know that a Markov chain has this very nice property of demonstrating the equilibrium distribution. Particularly in the case of finite state space Markov chain, you can give a very interesting interpretation, namely that all the eigenvalues, you can just completely discuss Markov chains in finite space using just linear algebra. You don't need probability, okay, because the eigenvalues are less than 1, or one of them is at 1. So what happens is that all the other modes corresponding to eigenvalues which are strictly within the unit circle, they die down, and the 1 at 1 will remain, and the left eigenvector of the state transition matrix constitutes the equilibrium probability vector. So once we have the equilibrium probability vector, what we are next naturally led to do is, can we do the transient analysis? And there is a research paper of me and Alex in an international conference on applied probability and stochastic process organized in Kerala on the 60th birthday of Achyuta Krishnamurthy. So in that research paper, we were able to show that explicit transient performance evaluation can be done, and Alex was the main contributor for that research paper. Okay. Now, so normally the equilibrium analysis of skip-free Markov chains leads to what are called as matrix polynomial equations, or also called as matrix power series equations. Only thing is they are not arbitrary matrix polynomial equations or arbitrary matrix power series equations, but the coefficient matrices, they come from the generator matrix of the continuous time Markov chain. In the case of continuous time Markov chain, the equilibrium probability vector is in the left null space of the generator matrix. Okay. So if you kind of look at this problem, we are pretty much clear that the system of equations is multivariate, because if you have a matrix, then you have a bunch of unknowns, just label them with x1, x2, x3, x4, and so on, all the way up to x power n square. So we have multiple variables and they are polynomial equations. So what we are looking at in the case of solution of the equilibrium probability vector of a GM1 type Markov chain or MG1 type Markov chain is a problem in algebraic geometry. And the surprising thing is that for matrix polynomial equations, which are not necessarily structured as in the case of MG1 and GM1 type Markov chain, even in the arbitrary case, we can use linear algebraic techniques to find the solutions. That is the surprising result. And this result, to my knowledge, appeared in a Russian book by a professor called as Gantmacher. Okay. Now, it so turns out that in the past 4 years, since we started collaboration with Alex, we were able to find some explicit formulas for the rate matrix under some conditions. Okay. So now let's move on to matrix quadratic equations and algebraic geometry. Okay. So X is the unknown and the unknown is a matrix. Okay. In the simplest case, the unknown matrix is a bunch of, in the simplest case, that is 2 by 2 case. So what do we have? We have x1, x2, x3, x4. So these are the 4 variables, and the coefficient matrices are A2, A1, and A0, where the X and A sub i's are 2 by 2 matrices. Okay. Now, in general, so when we have these structured matrix quadratic equation or arbitrary matrix quadratic equation in 2 by 2 matrices, what do we have? We effectively have a system of homogeneous second degree 4 variate equations. What are the variables? x1, x2, x3, x4, and the coefficients come from the coefficient matrices A2, A1, and A0. So if you look at this problem, it is a problem in algebraic geometry. But surprisingly, this problem in algebraic geometry, if you don't observe the structure in the system of equations, you may think that the explicit solution is not possible. See, that is the beauty of mathematics. What happens is, when you look at a problem from the proper angle, then you get a correct solution. When you look at a problem from the wrong direction, you will never go anywhere. Suppose the eigenvalues of the unknown matrix are unknown, okay, are unknown, then we have no other way. But suppose they are known, then the matrix quadratic equation can be reduced to a linear matrix equation. The simplest way to see this result is, suppose X is there as a matrix. Let us say we write down its Jordan canonical form. Let us say we write down its Jordan canonical form TD T inverse. So just substitute TD in T inverse in the matrix equation. What do we have? We have TD T inverse A2, T D square T inverse A2 plus TD T inverse A1 plus A0 equals 0. Because the matrix D is known, because we know the eigenvalues. Either it is a diagonal matrix, or in the worst case, it is a Jordan canonical form. Then once we know that, we pull the T outside. then once we pull the t outside, we get dt inverse A2 plus dt inverse A1 plus t inverse A0. So if you look at this system of equations, what we effectively have is we have a system of linear equations. That is, the beauty of the result first proved by Gantt-Marker is the matrix quadratic equation can be reduced to a linear matrix equation if you know the eigenvalues and if you know the Jordan canonical form, or we know the, okay. Now, our contribution with Professor Alex is in the last 4 years, we were able to find out an explicit formula for X under invertibility of certain matrix, which is guaranteed in the case of recurrent non-null Markov chain. Okay. Now we move on to the next slide. So how did this? So the problem so far boils down to be able to compute the eigenvalues of the unknown matrix through some magic. Once we know the eigenvalues, then we can go ahead and solve linear system of equations. Okay. Now, it so turns out that Marcel Newtz came up, I believe, if you want history, Evans was the PhD thesis from University of Michigan, where he had quasi birth and death process. Then Wallach also had quasi birth and death process. Then Marcel Newtz observed the structure in the problem and he completely generalized it to GM1 type Markov chains and MG1 type Markov chains. The equilibrium probability vector is partitioned into levels, so are vectors. Pi sub n plus 1, that is the equilibrium probability of states at level n plus 1, is equilibrium probability of states at level n times the rate matrix R. And in my PhD thesis from Purdue University, West Lafayette, I have generalized this recursion to what I call as finite memory recursions. And applied probability theory community were investigating similar idea little later than my PhD thesis. So in my PhD thesis, I coined the word finite memory recursions, where the equilibrium probability vector at time n plus 1 is expressed in terms of equilibrium probability vector at time at the level n, n minus 1, n minus 2, and n minus k. I'll repeat it one more time. Equilibrium probability of states at level n plus 1 can be expressed in terms of equilibrium probabilities of states at level n, n minus 1, finitely many steps using the matrices W1, W2, Wk. I return to this thing tomorrow in one of my another research paper in SMARTY 2020. But unfortunately, the computation of rate matrix involves a matrix polynomial equation. Okay. Now, in the case of GM1 time process, it will be a matrix power series equation. Structured GM1 type Markov chain, it will be a matrix polynomial equation. It so turns out that in the case of quasi birth and death process, the polynomial equation reduces to a matrix quadratic equation. Okay. Now, the title of this talk is Matrix Quadratic Equations and Queuing Theory. To be honest with you, all the results kind of have their generalizations to matrix polynomial equations. Okay. Now, once we have the quadratic equation R square A2 plus RA1 plus A0, our goal at the back of our mind is to think whether we can determine the eigenvalues so that we can reduce the matrix quadratic equation to a linear matrix equation. The beauty is it can be done. The only thing is we come up with a polynomial matrix. Sometimes people use the word matrix polynomial, where the unknown is a scalar x, small x, square A2, plus small x times a1 plus a naught, this is a polynomial matrix, equals g of x, can be written in this factorized form. X sub times I, identity matrix, minus r times h of x. Please understand this result holds true for arbitrary matrix R, which need not be rate matrix. So beauty is you take this polynomial matrix, you can factor it into x sub I minus r times h of x. If you take determinant on both the sides, determinant of g of x, which involves only the matrices, coefficient matrices a2, a1, and a0, what happens? You get a polynomial matrix determinant. It will be a scalar polynomial in the coefficients or the entries of the coefficient matrices a2, a1, and a0. It will be a large dimensional scalar matrix quadratic equation, or it will be a higher degree matrix, it will be a higher degree scalar polynomial. Don't confuse yourself. The point is x square, which is small x, a2 plus small x, a1 plus a0. When you take the determinant, you get a scalar polynomial of a higher degree. I can be very explicit. In this case, if a2, a1, a0 are two n by n matrices, you get a polynomial of degree n times 2. 2n will be the highest degree of the polynomial. Okay. Now, so we have this factorization, which is very nice. Once we have the factorization, what it tells is that the zeros of the scalar polynomial determinant of g of x are the eigenvalues of the solutions of the unknown matrix R or X. Okay. Now, if by some trick you can identify the eigenvalues of the unknown matrix from the zeros of the scalar polynomial, we are done. And that's exactly what happens in the case of rate matrix. Now, in the case of rate matrix, we have a localization theorem. What it says is the zeros of determinant of g of x, which are inside the unit circle, are exactly the eigenvalues of the rate matrix. Okay. Now, I've been skipping lanes between rate matrix and unknown matrix X. It so turns out that when these coefficient matrices are 2 by 2 matrices, and we know that Cayley-Hamilton theorems is satisfied by the characteristic polynomial of the rate matrix. Since the characteristic polynomial divides the polynomial determinant of g of x, what we have is that the matrix quadratic equation can be reduced to a linear equation if the unknown matrices and the known coefficient matrices are 2 by 2 matrices. So like in the case of rate matrix, there are at least 2 more unique solutions with corresponding eigenvalues. Okay. Now, it so turns out that the polynomial will be of degree 4 in the case of 2 by 2 unknown matrix and 2 by 2 known coefficient matrices. We have a polynomial of degree 4, in the general case 2n. So if you take all possible pairs, you get 6 possible equivalence classes. Okay, that is, all of you know that if 2 matrices have same eigenvalues, they are related by an equivalence relation. So we have 6 possible equivalence classes. When we have 6 possible equivalence classes, what we hope to do is, if within each equivalence class there is a unique solution, then we only have 6 solutions of this arbitrary matrix quadratic equation in 2 by 2 matrices. And in the research paper, in the interest of time, in the research paper, we discuss the conditions under which we can explicitly say how many solutions are there. And the magic is, in the case of rate matrix, we are guaranteed to have 3 unique solutions. That is, out of 6 equivalence classes, 3 equivalence classes have only exactly 1 solution. Particularly, when we take the zeros of the 4th degree polynomial, which are within the unit circle, there are only 2 of them. They correspond to the rate matrix. We know the eigenvalues of the rate matrix. We have a quadratic equation which is reduced to a linear equation, so we can explicitly compute the solution. That was the collaboration with Alex. It was published in paper in Budapest, Hungary, in 2017 European Conference on Modeling and Simulation. And also, it so turns out that if we get a Jordan canonical form representation of rate matrix, then also if the eigenvalues are known, we can calculate the solution explicitly. This is the so-called closed form method, which was proposed by me in my PhD thesis. There were a couple of employees of IBM by name Hantler, Gale and Hantler. They cite my research paper. Their paper has 170 citations, but our research paper, along with Kim and Professor Edward Coyle, our paper has 30 citations. If you are interested, Alex can share the paper with you. And we generalize all the results to matrix power series equations. So in the interest of time, I think I have only 3 or 4 minutes left. We'll go to the last slide. It so turns out that even though the problem on the surface looks like a problem in algebraic geometry, it is of so structured 4th degree homogeneous polynomial equation, 2nd degree homogeneous polynomial equation in 4 unknowns. It so turns out that the determinant of g of x has 4 zeros. There are only 6 possible sets of solutions. If the eigenvalues are known, then we can convert the solution, the matrix quadratic equation, into a linear matrix equation. If the eigenvalues of the solution matrix are known, solving the matrix quadratic equation can be reduced to solving a linear system of equations. Okay. Now, I'll go to the last slide. Our computation for GM1 type Markov chain. In the limitations of time, what we did was, in the research paper, we worked out the details for the matrix quadratic equation. In the last section, we briefly discussed how the results generalize for matrix polynomial and matrix power series equations, particularly when the number of states at each level is 2. And there are lots of nice problems where the number of states at each level is only 2. So Cayley-Hamilton theorem is used to reduce the matrix power series equation into a linear equation. This is really interesting. We not only have a problem in algebraic geometry, we have a problem in a generalized algebraic geometry. We have a power series in scalar unknowns. Okay, so reduction of matrix power series equation into a linear equation. The proof of invertibility of the coefficient matrix gives us a closed form solution for rate matrix in terms of the coefficient matrices and the coefficients of characteristic polynomial. So it so turns out that when you substitute for the unknown using the second x square in terms of x and the identity matrix with some coefficient, by just small algebra, matrix algebra, it can be converted into a linear equation. Once we have the linear equation, then if the unknown matrix which occurs there is invertible, then we have a unique solution. If it is not invertible, we have infinitely many solutions. So Dr. Alexander Ramyantsev and we have applied this to an IoT device arising in applications, particularly in Internet of Things. And we continued this research and we published a journal paper in the Journal of Parallel and Distributed Computation. So to be honest with you, we are actively collaborating with Professor Morozov and Dr. Alexander Ramyantsev on a continuation of this research. Okay, now I think we are almost out of time. I stop here and take any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for your valuable time. And any questions, please? Yes, there is some silence. I don't hear anyone. So maybe from my side, there will be not a question, but a comment. So I think that the methods you are talking about, so it's also related to the transient analysis, and it's very closely connected to the previous speaker, to the keynote by Miklos. So that the new methods that he introduced with this concentrated matrix exponential distributions for inverse Laplace transform, it would be very useful to obtain the transient solution for the same case, right? So that in case of the using the Jordan canonical form, you can get explicitly the transient solution, but maybe the inverse of the Laplace transform would be the difficult point. But with the previous method, with the method introduced by Professor Miklos Čelik, it would be interesting to try. Maybe this would gain additional efficiency in accuracy and in the speed.
Okay, that's very interesting. I think Professor Miklos has done a nice work in the terms of transient analysis, and particularly explicit solution in the case of transient analysis. It's kind of very interesting result. But of course, at the end of the day, it will reduce to inverting the Laplace transform, which is somewhat interesting. Yes. Thank you, Professor Alex. If there are anything else, please share the slides with any audience who are interested in the slides.
Yeah. Thank you.